we call.
It was the boat show Chinese style in 1971, and along with the lanterns and fried rice, genuine sampans operated by two genuine Hong Kong sampan girls. This is Susie Lai, all of 5 feet tall, providing the motive power according to Confucius. The Prime Minister, who opened the show, signed the Navy's visitors book and cast a critical eye over the Royal Marine's display of beach assault craft. As usual, the Navy's stand attracted a good deal of attention, which meant a lot of work for those answering the questions. But to get back to Susie Lai for a moment, 8,000 odd miles as the crow flies from Earl's Court, the Commodore's launch rounds the bull's nose of HMS Tamar, carrying the sampan girls on the last stage of their journey home. And my, how sunshine has grown since Mum's been away. A little later in the year, Boat Race Day comes to Hong Kong, and with the frigate Salisbury in attendance, a boat's crew from HMS Tamar climbed gingerly on board their 50-seater. Yes, 50. For these are the famous dragon boats, the once sacred dragon boat races, now a colourful festival for all to enjoy. The dragons' heads on the boats are supposed to ward off evil spirits, but even they couldn't stop the Tamar crew suffering the ultimate indignity. Under starter's orders, and they're off. Bedraggled but refloated. Tamar, nearest the camera, take on a crew of Welsh guardsmen and put up what can only be described as a brave effort. Taking an early lead, the guards held off a late rally by Tamar to cross the line with a lead of half a length. Watched by the guest of honour, Lieutenant General Sir Richard Ward, Commander-in-Chief, British Forces, Hong Kong. The crew had the consolation of being hailed by the Chinese for their pluck in finishing after so disastrous a start, but the last word on the race came from Tamar's padre, Reverend Peter Anstey of Manchester.
Worse than the rehearsal? Worse than the rehearsal. The rehearsal we were in clean water. This is just sewage.
Flooding on a massive scale again took its heavy toll in Asia early this year, as these pictures from Pahang, Malaysia, show all too clearly. Swiftly on the scene was the RFA logistics ship Sir Lancelot and helicopters of 847 Naval Air Commando Squadron from Sembawang, Singapore. Tons of foodstuffs were ferried from the ship to distressed areas in scenes so reminiscent of the disastrous East Pakistan floods the year before. There was definitely no shortage of food in bountiful Bournemouth for the annual services catering competition in March. And as any good cook knows, there's no substitute for a little bit of elbow grease. Incentives were there aplenty, and the judges, suitably robust gentlemen, conscientiously sampled everything. Not that you had to be robust to sample the work of CPO Eric Mills, now Chief Cook to Flag Officer Gibraltar. His mouth-watering salmon dish won him a gold medal and the coveted Silver Challenge trophy. Intricately iced cakes were another popular feature of the exhibition. But it was real ice adorning the conning tower of HMS Dreadnought when on the 3rd of March she surfaced at the very top of the world. The North Pole scene was one of unforgettable and beautiful wilderness, perhaps not so unlike what man might find when he first lands on another planet. following day, March the 4th, saw the fleet submarine Churchill nosing her way into the northerly West German port of Kiel for a 5-day courtesy visit. Once alongside, German naval officials and local dignitaries were welcomed on board for some customary RN hospitality. On the 16th of March, this lucky young lady presented a bouquet to Princess Anne. The Princess had flown to HMS Vernon for the naming of the RNSA's new ocean racing yacht, Sea Wraith III, dressed overall for the occasion. The simple ceremony went without a hitch, and Sea Wraith was all set for a successful season's racing in the Mediterranean. A month later, on the 14th of April, Her Royal Highness arrived at Vosper's Woolston shipyard to launch her first RN ship, HMS Amazon, first of the new Type 21 gas turbine frigates. And on the 10th of June, Her Majesty the Queen was present at the Barrow-in-Furness shipyard of Vickers to launch the Navy's first Type 42 destroyer, HMS Sheffield. 3,500 tons and 410 feet overall, Sheffield will be gas turbine powered and equipped with a formidable array of weapons, including the new Sea Dart missile system and the Mark 8 4.5-inch gun. 3 more Type 42s are now on order. Ark Royal, steaming in the Murray Firth during evaluation trials of the vertical takeoff Harrier jet, was host to some top brass in May, when Vice Chief of the Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Lewin, and Vice Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Smallwood, came to see Harriers of No. 1 Squadron RAF put through their paces. Vice Admiral Lewin found a Harrier to fit him without too much trouble, but he'd left the hot seat by the time these remarkable aircraft took to the air unassisted and made carrier flying look deceptively easy. Landings are even more spectacular than takeoffs, and the indications are that we'll be seeing a lot more of the Harrier in the future. In fact, the Navy looks like doing quite well in the 70s. New ships, new weapons, new equipment. Take the launching of Swiftsure in September. She brings our nuclear fleet submarine strength up to 7. And Exocet, the powerful new ship-to-ship missile being developed in conjunction with the French, as a formidable addition to our firepower. Then, of course, there's always the one-man assault craft, currently on proving trials in the Pool of London. They come in pairs and a variety of fittings. Our intrepid inventor, Sub-Lieutenant Alan Hogarth, is, as they say, a man with a long way to go. A long, long way. But it's all in a good cause. Proceeds from his amphibious perambulations go to the Save the Children's Fund. So keep it up, Alan. In May, another excellent cause was the reason for HMS Eagle welcoming the arrival of a very popular guest, Henry Cooper, OBE. Amongst his many other activities, the former British Commonwealth and European heavyweight champion is an enthusiastic fundraiser for cancer relief. The occasion, the handing over of a cheque for £100 by Captain Ian Robertson. The money was raised by members of the ship's company during a 20-mile charity road race in Gibraltar. Henry also received a picture of the ship. And he's looking quite a picture himself these days, too, isn't he? Aye, aye. Seconds out. And now for a story with an international flavour. On board one of the U.S. Navy's largest tank landing craft, the USS Wood County, at anchor in the Solent, the First Sea Lord is greeted by the CO, Lieutenant Commander Patella. And this is what he's come to see. Tucumcari, a fast patrol boat, U.S. Navy style. But what, you might ask, has it got in common with this frisky little hot rod? Well, they're both hydrofoils, but not just any old hydrofoils. The basic principle of the design, fully submerged and controllable foils, rather like aircraft wings, is common to both craft. Sir Michael's expression is giving nothing away, but few can fail to be impressed by the performance of Tucumcari. The Firth of Forth in July, and HMS Rapid, one-time fleet destroyer and fast frigate, now a training ship based at Rosyth, keeps an appointment with a vessel of similar vintage. Cavalier, the 26-year-old Chatham-based destroyer, veteran of Arctic convoys and the old East Indies station. Lieutenant Commander Bill Kelly, captain of Rapid, challenged Cavalier to a 2-hour race during the ship's full-power trials. Cavalier's CO, Commander C.A. Snell, wasn't slow to accept, and at 1400 on the 6th of July, the ships drew level. And they're away, Rapid taking an early lead. With her guns removed, she's that much quicker off the mark than the fully operational Cavalier, sporting Seacat missiles, Bofors, and 4.5s. But Captain Snell is confident that the prophecy from Job, verses 15 to 21, he signalled to Rapid, will be fulfilled. A dreadful sound is in his ears. In prosperity, the destroyer shall come upon him. Slowly but steadily, Cavalier pulled up from being a length down until the two ships drew level for a finishing sprint. Then as Cavalier gets the edge, Captain Kelly orders everyone aft. It looks like a desperate move on Rapid's part. And a victory cheer from Cavalier confirms the fact. It's all over. By the incredibly narrow margin of just 36 yards in 2 hours, Cavalier is the winner, and it's handshakes all round. Captain Snell tells reporters that the average speed of both ships was slightly in excess of 31 knots. So, hard luck Rapid, and well done Cavalier, fastest ship by just 36 yards. During the year, 2 RN ships had the privilege of encountering one of that unique breed of British yachtsmen who've been sailing single-handed round the world. Che Blythe chose the difficult east-west route in his craft British Steel, and the ice patrol ship, Endurance, made contact with Che just 80 miles off Cape Horn.
This is Endurance, British Steel. I'm hearing you loud and clear. How me, Ever?
Roger, Endurance, yes, you're loud and clear. Over. I got word from the captain that he closed me in about 3 hours, having not seen anybody for 66 days. First reaction was that all should be well, so I dropped the mainsail and the boom foresail. My next thing then was to have a shave. If I was going to receive visitors, I was damn sure I wasn't going to receive them, all beardy and dirty. When he got here, he went round me a couple of times. I took a few photographs. Here I am, stuck about 80 miles from Cape Horn. Absolutely flat calm, 2 helicopters and a boat whirling around me. And having not seen anybody for 66 days, it was fantastic. The excitement was incredible, it really was. And they came up and they moored up alongside and said, here's some stuff from the captain and the crew. Oh, you've got no idea, I tell you, it's really terrific. There's chocolate and there's some bread and there's a bottle of whiskey.
Well, as we know, Che completed his epic voyage early in August, meeting Ark Royal in the Channel approaches on the last leg home. The Navy salutes a great sailor, Che Blythe. At Britannia Naval College in September, we welcomed a new sailor, and there can't be many who turn up for their first day in an Aston Martin. An intensive 6-week study course lay ahead of the Prince, welcomed here by Sir Julian Gascoigne, Deputy Lieutenant of Devon, the Mayor of Dartmouth, Councillor Mullet, Admiral Sir Horace Law, C&C Naval Home Command, and Captain of the College, Captain A.G. Tate. The less official welcome then from 3 of his fellow students, no doubt helping to smooth the passage of that first morning, always a trying time for anyone, the Prince of Wales included. It was under the Golden Gate for HMS Blake and her crew to a 21-gun salute from the US Army garrison. The visit coincided with San Francisco's British Week, and it can't be very often that the Royal Navy has been seen parading on American soil in the last 200 years. HMS Belfast, last big gunship of the British fleet, launched by Mrs. Neville Chamberlain in 1938, leaves Portsmouth on her last voyage, thankfully saved from the breaker's yard by the efforts of the Belfast Trust under the chairmanship of Rear Admiral Morgan Giles. On October the 15th, the Pool of London was ready with a welcome befitting the arrival of its new 10,000-ton resident. A welcome which included a nostalgic salute from a wartime contemporary, the very last of the old string bags still flying. A week later, the First Sea Lord and Rear Admiral Morgan Giles attend a brief opening ceremony, establishing Belfast not only as London's newest landmark, but also as a lasting reminder of the maritime power so much a part of our past, present and future. And as the first visitors go on board Belfast, another era of that maritime power ends. 17 ships of the Far East Fleet, headed by the flagship Glamorgan, take part in the Navy's farewell steam past off Changi. The British presence, which lasted 156 years in all, finally came to an end at midnight on October the 31st. At Dartmouth, Prince Charles's 6-week graduate course culminated in his passing out parade at the end of October, watched by members of the teaching staff and inspected by Admiral Sir Horace Law. Within a week, the Prince was in Gibraltar, striding up the gangway of his first ship, HMS Norfolk, commanded by Captain J.W.D. Cook. In Norfolk and other ships of the fleet during the coming months, Prince Charles will be studying hard for his certificate of competence. December 20th, Bermuda. Prime Minister Edward Heath arrives for a state dinner on board HMS Glamorgan. With him comes President Nixon, the 2 leaders taking time off from their talks on the world economy to be guests of the Royal Navy. History records that the menu included Bermuda rockfish and roast saddle of lamb. As for the topics discussed at the dinner table, well, we can only guess. But we can say with confidence that the 2 leaders emerged smiling, and that Mr. Heath was definitely able to lend the President a helping hand. And so the year ends, in the hope that the good relations reaffirmed in Bermuda between Mr. Heath and Mr. Nixon augurs well for 1972.